Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we are going to be giving you guys some spooky book recommendations as it is mid-October, so it's that season.
Tis the season.
I know, right? Now, not all of these books are like horror. Some of them are like thrillers, or they just kind of give us those fall spooky vibes, so rude.
Yeah, let me just silence.
Put the phone on silence.
I typically do that and I did not.
Yeah.
Shameful.
Shame.
Shameful.
I think we each have 5. So, do you want to start?
Yeah. I tried to go with my thriller ones that spooked me right out.
That's fair.
And this one, so I wanted to put more horror on this list, but my goal was to not have this list just be Stephen King.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I also have not read too much horror this year, I realized.
Me neither.
Although I'm trying to get into a lot more horror. But I did read a lot of thrillers. And the first one on my list, I just read. And it definitely skyrocketed right to the top of this list because I don't care that it's considered a thriller. I don't care that it's a psychological thriller. I don't give a shit what it's listed under. It's a horror for me, okay? It's number 1 top tier horror. It's terrifying. Baby Teeth. I highly recommend it. I don't care. This book was absolutely, it messed me up, and it was absolutely terrifying. I could not even wrap my mind around what was happening. This is one of the reasons why I'm terrified to have children.
Because kids can be creepy.
Do not give me a story about the nonsense of the monsters under your bed or things that just cannot be real. This is why this is so terrifying. It's the real life stuff that scares me, like the monsters that you can give birth to.
Yeah, it's true.
No, thank you. I'll pass.
I'm gonna pass on that one.
I'll pass.
My first one is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire, I think is how you say it. I talked about this on a wrap-up, I think in the springtime, spring or summer. I had bought it on a trip to Seattle at a really cute little bookstore, and I ended up really loving it. It's about this school for troubled children, and these troubled children have all kind of experienced a similar thing. And it's a story about what they've endured and what the school is really like, and the woman running the school has her own issues, and it's just it has that very spooky feel without it being a horror. It's definitely not a horror, but it does very much have those vibes to me.
I do want to read that one.
It's very good.
We got another one in from that author, and it wasn't horror. And
it has those, because I didn't find it scary, but I could see how there were aspects of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
my more mild one.
Shit out of me.
It's definitely on my list. I want to read it.
I honestly feel like the last book that gave me that kind of feeling like this could really happen, looking over my shoulder, was Verity.
Okay.
But this was on a different level.
A creepy kid will always get me.
Creepy kid, man. I don't like creepy kids. Anyway, number 2 for me is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I read almost all of his books. I haven't read the newest. I haven't gotten to that one yet. Out of the other ones, this is my favorite from him. And the reason why is because it was more of that actual spookiness. It was a little bit more paranormal. It had that real, the old tale of the family used to own this old mansion, and it was supposed to be haunted, and they had this lore of the family left in the middle of the night because of all these things that were happening in the house.
Oh, you told me about this.
Yeah, I did in one of the wrap-ups, but I absolutely loved this one. So I would highly recommend it for a spooky read. It definitely had all the vibes.
Love a paranormal book. Next one I have is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I talked about this, I think, last year when I read it. Now, when I talked about it, I think I only gave it like a 3.5 star rating. And that's because I went into this book thinking that it was going to be a thriller. Don't make my mistake, because it's very much not a thriller. There's nothing super shocking about it. But this is about a woman whose daughter goes missing, and then years later she goes over to a man's house and sees a woman that looks exactly like her missing daughter. And the whole story is her just trying to figure out, is she going crazy? Like, how could her daughter, and like, keep in mind, like, many years have passed and this girl looks to be her daughter's age when she went missing.
Okay, so there's no way.
Right, so child. So
girl, young.
It's very much like an unreliable narrator situation. And I don't want to spoil anything, but what actually transpired is like horrific. And it very much, just once again, it wasn't like a thriller, but it was scary to read.
Like human psyche type thing?
Yeah.
Like what the human psyche can do?
But once again, it wasn't as much of like a psychological thriller. It was very much like, this is what real people are capable of. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
That's just, anyway.
Are you going to read this one?
Yes, I actually was just going to say, my best friend Crystal just gave me this one.
Then I won't spoil it. I was just going to tell you how it ends, but I won't spoil it.
No, don't tell me, because it's literally sitting on the top.
It's not a thriller. It's not like a shocking ending. So don't think it's going to be a shocking ending. But it was very much like a, situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm kind of really excited now to read it.
If you don't go into it thinking that it's going to be shocking like I did, then you'll like it.
Okay. That's fair. The next one that I would recommend is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. I had like no idea what I was getting into when I read this book. Like, I had read some other ones by C.J. Tudor, and so I was just like, I like this author. I'm gonna pick this one up because it was his newest. Hers. I'm not sure, honestly. Their newest. I had no idea what I was getting into, like I said, and this one really freaked me out. The whole idea of it, it was like this family was moving and taking over this little town like parish. I think I had talked about this in a wrap-up. It takes place in London, and the woman was taking over as like the pastor, like the head reverend or something.
So far it's not ringing a bell.
And she takes over this church, and weird stuff starts happening, and like she starts getting threats, and her weird stuff starts happening to her daughter, and everybody in this little town knows her.
Oh.
It's very, very
creepy,
spooky.
churchy people will always get
very,
you too.
very spooky. I'm telling you. And she gets like the house that is like behind the land of the church. So she's got the church and the house is even creepier than the church. Let me tell you, it's just. And then, whoa, yeah, I just remembered this part. But when they arrive and they're like moving into the house, in their backyard is this like little girl like screaming and covered in blood. Which is like, again, creepy child.
That would have been the moment that I was like,
bye.
Yeah.
But yeah. I recommend that one.
Yeah.
It's really creepy.
Next one I have is Layla by Colleen Hoover. We've definitely talked about this one before, but it is her only paranormal book she's ever written, and I really, really, really liked it. I don't know what I can even say about it without spoiling
There's
it.
really not much you can, but it is kind of spooky and twisty. And
yeah. And it's, like I said, it's paranormal, and there's a ghost involved and some possession involved.
Yeah, I really, this is another one that it's not like Verity.
No.
It's not like any of her others. So again, this is one that like, if you're going and looking for another Verity, or if you're looking for another like just regular romance, this is not. Like, Layla
like
stands on its own.
I love Colleen Hoover, so I'm going to read all her books. I'm not surprised if some people don't like this one, because it's not like her typical books.
Yeah.
You very much have to be into the paranormal genre. It's a paranormal romance. It does have aspects of it. But yeah,
I really loved it.
I think it was a good mix of both. It's not super heavy paranormal. It's not super heavy romance. It was a good mix of both.
I think so too. But then again, I read all kinds of paranormal romance. So.
But we like that genre. So if you're going into it thinking it's just going to be a romance or just going to be a paranormal, you're not going to like it. It's got both. That's why I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, fair.
Yeah.
The next one I have on my list is Dear Child by, I think it's Romy Hausman. Could be totally wrong. I'm sorry if I am. Seriously, if I could just get a dime for every time I pronounce a name wrong, it'd be great.
I know.
Because I know I do it all the time.
I'm
very apologetic about it.
Right. I understand why some authors publish under a different name though, like if they have really complex names. Because it's hard to like look at a name on a book and be like, that's how that's pronounced.
I totally get it. Listen, my name has been said wrong my entire life.
Chastity.
So, yeah, my entire life. I get it. I'm sorry. So
I've heard people call you Chastity before.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the
Charity.
time. Charity. All the time. It's okay. It's alright. Anyways, Dear Child. I remember this being really creepy, and I remember one vivid part of it, but I'm going to be honest, I don't remember a lot of the other details. But I do remember really, really liking it and thinking that it was a really spooky read. So I'm going to put it on the list.
Yeah. A lot of these is probably better if you go in blind anyway.
So.
She's really doing you a favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last one is one that we both read and loved, and it's Sinner's Retreat by Victoria Ellis.
So good.
It's so good. It's a novella, correct? It's very, very short, but it's super good. It's about these all these different couples that get invites to go to this like retreat at this house, and so none of these people like really know each other. They're meeting for the first time. Am I remembering that correctly? None of them know each other. And then as soon as they get there, some spooky, murderous shit starts happening.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't want to say anything else about it, but it was really, really great. I can't remember when I read this, but it's definitely, I've talked about it in a wrap up before. I really liked it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it, and I just loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
And it definitely like, it makes you think about what people are capable of when they're put in
certain situations.
Yeah, scary situations.
When they're like pushed to the limit.
It's like self-preservation. Yeah.
Yeah. Survival of the fittest kind of thing. Yeah. Crazy.
I know.
Crazy. My last one isn't, I mean, it's spooky, but not as spooky as the rest of mine, but I did want to add it. So the fifth one I'm going to recommend is Guilty Pleasures. Number 1 in the Anita Blake series, because I've got to have some paranormal, my spooky little vampires and werewolves. So I would recommend the Anita Blake series to anyone.
Yeah. I actually lied, I do have one more. I realized I only did 4. My true last one for this recommendation video is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I really like Ruth Ware. I haven't read all of her stuff, but of the stuff that I have read, this one's my favorite. It's also kind of a paranormal aspect. This woman is a live-in nanny for this family, and once again, it's the creepy kids.
I was gonna say, I remember you talking about this.
Things just start happening in the house, and she feels like she's very like whatever is in the house doesn't want her there. Yeah. Ooh. And that's all I'll say about it. It's very good.
Okay. So those are the spooky recommendations we have for you this time. We hope you all enjoy your Halloween. Enjoy your spooky season. Comment down below. Let us know if you have read any of these or if you have any recommendations for us, because, you know, we need more recommendations.
Right. We need more books to add to our list.
Hit that like button and subscribe. And make sure you turn on that notification bell so you know when we post next. Bye.